Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hagir Show on the Hagir Network. And today I am honored to have two amazing ladies here who are truly making a difference in our community. Without further ado, please introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do, starting with you, Destiny.
Hi, I'm Destiny Brown with Pennsylvania Prison Society, and what I do is I'm an advocate and a head convener at Dauphin County Prison. I have been doing that for about 6 or 7 years, but altogether my work's been since 1989.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jessica Reed.
Thank you.
I am the Central Pennsylvania Prison Monitoring Manager, so I manage about 31 facilities up and down all of Central PA.
All right, amazing. So let's just start by talking, what is the Prison Society? Any one of you.
Go ahead. I want to hear what it is to you.
The Pennsylvania Prison Society, to me, is where we advocate on the behalf of the men and women that are on the inside. And I feel that we're the voice for those that feel that they don't have a voice, or feel that, you know, them coming in and out of the facility, they've burnt bridges and their family members have lost hope in them, and they feel like their hope is gone. And a lot of things that happen inside of the facility, a lot of times we advocate for them to get different items that they need inside of the facility, such as warm areas, the food, commissary, even sometimes even get their dates to go into the courthouse. We advocate for them, and sometimes we go in to the courthouse with them and be advocate on that level as well.
Supporting them. And excuse my ignorance, like I did not hear about you guys until you receive your current award. And I felt truly bad not knowing that you exist, especially with all the issues that we have. But I am glad that you guys are here. You're doing what you do. And so many people out there are as ignorant as I am, or I was, before I got to know you, and they don't know how this came about. So if you want to just...
Sure. So we've been around actually for about 236 years. It was born out of a call to action, actually by Benjamin Franklin. And for over 200 years, we talk about all the time what our main mission is. So at the Pennsylvania Prison Society, we believe in the health, safety, and dignity of every single person, and that it extends to incarcerated people, which I don't think that many people think about that unless it is directly impacting you or somebody in your family. We're the only independent oversight body that actually has statutory access. So there was an act that was voted on that allows us access to any incarcerated person 7 days a week between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So, legally they have to allow us in. And that's huge for us. We are as Destiny said, we're the lifeline. And not only do we do independent monitoring with individual people, we actually have at our central office, which happens to be located in Philadelphia, we have education and advocacy. We're always looking to help push more legislation, that increases, maybe not oversight, but at least the rights of people who are incarcerated. Because I think the key to this, and what we keep saying, is that we're saying people who are incarcerated.
Yeah.
They are people.
Yes. And a lot of people don't really think of it this way. When you talk about rights, starting from the idea of prison. Yes, as a society, we need to hold people accountable. But to what extent? Are we giving them an option on a chance to be rehabbed and become part of the society after they finish their sentence, or are they going to continue carrying that sentence with them, with our blames and just being there in a very bad. So a lot of people might look at this and say, they did something. Why should we care? What would you tell them?
Well, I'm going to say one thing and then I want Destiny to answer because I love her answer to this question. I've heard it and it's amazing.
Oh, good. I asked the right question then.
But recently, this is a really good statistic that strikes people when I say it. In Dauphin County Prison, only 15% of the people in Dauphin County Prison right now, which is roughly 930, I believe, have actually been convicted of a crime. So
15%, you said.
15% of people
You getting this?
in Dauphin County Prison have actually been convicted of a crime. They weren't able to pay their bail. They're awaiting trial. And so I think it's really important to understand that in our county prisons, because somebody's there does not mean that they're guilty. It means that either one, they can't afford to get out, or two, they're just awaiting their trial. And so how they're treated, the argument that says, and this is like the worst thing I hear, they do the crime, they have to do the time. And let me say, first and foremost, we are not an abolitionist organization. We do not advocate for the closings of prisons, but I think it's important to understand that some of the people, and quite frankly, we don't know the percentage of people that are in there that actually haven't done the crime. And who are going to be found innocent. And those are the people that we don't hear about. And so I think this might be able, I make that appeal to people that you can't say that about every person in prison, that they did the crime.
Absolutely. And in our earlier days on the show, I had the Innocent Project on, which is the statistics and the numbers that they give you is truly alarming. Go ahead, Destiny. We can't wait to hear your answer.
I'm one that I feel like if you really look at it, all of us have committed a crime. Some of us have got caught in that crime, and some of us haven't. And the majority of them, I mean, somebody's innocent until proven guilty, and even proven guilty, sometimes that individual is not guilty. And it depends on the individual who's working the case, how they're working the case, how they care about you. And you hate to say it, but it's a lot of the black and the brown people who get the
harsher sentence
and they get harsher sentences. And it's sad. It's really sad, to see that happen because they don't have the bail. They don't have the money. They can't pay for it. So, they're sitting there, and waiting and waiting. And then we have some children in there that are, 14? We've seen some in there that were 14. I mean, there were 5 of them in there. It's really sad. It's really sad to see, And for people to say, well, I don't care, that's not me, that's their problem. It's all of our problem.
Yeah.
It's all of our problem because our tax money is paying for somebody to be held in a facility when they did not commit a crime. We have individuals at Dauphin County that have sat there for 3 to 5 years.
Oh, my goodness.
That's too long to charge someone anywhere from $150 to $200 a day. That's our tax money. That's our tax money. And that charge goes to that individual, and once they're released, how can they be a productive individual if they have hanging over their head a $60,000 charge for sitting there for something they never did?
Elaborate on that, please, because I'm sure everyone listening to you right now, okay, first, we're paying to run the prison. What is the charge? Like if someone is sitting there.
So they used to charge a housing charge every day.
Housing. Like this is someone chose by.
Yes, daily.
Okay.
Now the new prison board came in and they abolished that charge. So they don't charge them by the day anymore. They just charge them a one-time booking fee.
Booking fee. hotel booking fee. I'm not trying to be funny, but this is like, okay, I'm listening. I'm
It's a
listening.
booking fee. They're not being charged by the day, but part of what they're working on now is that there are people who were in Dauphin County Prison years and years ago that still have bills of
Debt.
$15,000 to $30,000 to
Debt.
$40,000. Now the new prison board has committed to, they're pushing it back to, I guess it is the commissioners, but they say that they have committed to actually absolving all this debt. We've been advocating really hard that you're preventing people from
Having a life.
having a life, getting an apartment and a home, but for a long time that's what was occurring.
I cannot wrap my head around this. And instead of us providing student debt, I see if someone is there learning and not just getting a college degree, but getting a, training to be productive when they leave, you are charged to sit in jail whether you committed the crime or not. Even if you committed a crime, to me. Even if the only thing I don't feel sad about it is child molesters and, killers, real killers. That's, you can put them in jail. But anybody else, if you penalize them enough to be in jail for 10 years, 5 years, you're charging them to be there against their, I just can't wrap my head around this.
And a lot of individuals don't know that.
I didn't.
This charge is laying over that individual. I mean, they can't go out, get housing, because if they don't pay it, it goes on to their credit. This is something that's sitting on their credit. So how can I get a house? How can I be a productive individual if this is hanging over my head? I can't get a car to go to work because some hours of the, jobs you get are 3 to 11. When does the buses stop? What, 7 or 8? What am I supposed to do? What is that individual supposed to do? And that's where we come in and we advocate for that. We push hard. Something has to change. Something has to stop. You have to. So that's where they say that they had stopped, charging them. There's a fee. So and then again, if an individual gets out tomorrow, and then they come back, there's a 125 fee that they have to pay automatically. So if your loved one sends you some money for commissary, that 125 is coming out of there first. So until that 125 is paid, and every time somebody brings money, sends you money, that comes out of there first. And so if they pay it, that 125, then they leave the prison 2 days later, come back, that 125 is back again.
Okay.
So
Wow.
if they do a crime within the time that they're out, it's not like, and it wasn't months.
Not like one-time charge. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you were talking about this, I'm thinking of everyone who was wrongfully accused and they end up leaving with that amount, or even were guilty, served their time and left and had that amount sitting in their head from before they removed it. They need to go back and pay that person some loan of 60,000 or 30 or whatever. That's how my brain worked.
Right.
But I did not know that,
Yeah.
and I'm sure many of our audience don't know this. This is another reason why we need to thank you guys for doing that. But how can people help? And we'll continue. Like, this is not the end. But how can we help about this? What do you want us to do? If there is a legislation out there that we need to sign, someone we need to be making phone calls, like a call for action for everyone listening.
Yeah, I mean, the Dauphin County Commissioners have committed, and I feel very hopeful because they did abolish the daily fee, as they said they would. They stopped taking the money from people's commissary
Okay?
to pay the fees like they said they were going to. And we can talk about in a second why commissary is so important, because I
Okay.
know people think, oh, it's just luxury items, but I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Because that's something that when I talk to people, they're really, really shocked about.
Yeah.
So they've committed that they're going to vote once this debt collection contract is up.
Okay.
They've alerted them they're not going to re-up, and they're going to abolish all the debt and just say, we're good. I definitely think that keeping an eye towards the end of the year at the commissioners' meetings, the Dauphin County Commissioners' meetings, if you want to write to the commissioners and voice your support for them for abolishing this debt, I think it's important for their constituents to hear that this is something that they believe in and they want them to do. But there's no reason, honestly, at this point, and I am not your forever optimist, Destiny can tell you that, but I really am optimistic about this. And
Oh, good. Is this just happening in Dauphin County Prison, the deal, or this is going to cover?
No. This is just Dauphin County, and every county runs differently.
Okay.
So the only prison, like the system that runs the same is, and they're all a little different, but as far as the general rules, is going to be the state institutions.
Okay.
Yeah. So each county does things differently. They charge differently for copays when you have to see the doctor or nurse, or copays for medication. They, charge different amounts. So
And I would say, add on to that, is to come out to the meetings. We have meetings every third Wednesday at Dauphin County Prison, and sometimes we have them at the Hub, which was known prior to that, the Hub, as the Hamilton Health Center, up on 6, I believe it's 6 and Emerald, or 6 and Emerald. So come out there, hold them accountable. If you're going to say you're going to do something and they want to say that they're being transparent and they're doing things, then hold them accountable. Say, this is what you said you're going to do, and we want to make sure you're doing it. We want to make them follow through what they're saying. I don't like words. Don't give me words. I need action. I need action.
Action speaks louder.
Yes, it does. So that's me. I'm just raw and to the point. So I'm like,
we like that.
Because these are lives.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be my child. It doesn't have to be my family member. This is something that I have a passion about. I've been doing it since 1989. As a volunteer. And I'm still doing it as a volunteer. There's no paycheck that comes to me. Whatever I do it from the heart. And these are, whether they committed the crime or not.
Human.
There goes you and I, but for grace, because if you take a pencil off your job and it's not yours, you're stealing. So that's a charge. So we feel that because, I didn't get caught, so I'm okay. If you're fudging time on your job, you're supposed to work there 7, 6, 4, 8 hours, and you're fudging the time, you're stealing. It's a charge. But we don't think of things like that. We think like, they did that, they deserve it. No, you deserve the same thing, but for grace, you didn't get it.
This is alarming to me. So you said the third Wednesday, so not this is not the end of the month, so
It should be
the
this
following, this Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, so the
Or
third
next
Wednesday
Wednesday.
of every month.
Sometime it flexes, so it'll be next Wednesday, and it's at 1:30 at Dauphin County Prison.
So anybody can go to the Dauphin County.
It's open to the public.
Yeah, prison board.
Okay.
There's a website.
Okay.
And it will post when and where the meetings are.
Okay.
And
We
they're
will
open
put
to
the link.
Yes, thank you. They're open to the public.
Okay.
And they're open for public comment. So anybody that shows up and has something to say will be heard.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, and just like now they're doing.
And we have it virtual too. So if you can't show up, you can go on the line virtually, and they still will allow you time to voice your opinion.
Yep. They also have 4 times a year now. That just started with Commissioner Justin Douglas, who got elected in, and he's a huge champion for us, or for incarcerated people.
Shout out to Justin, he's a
That's
good friend.
And so 4 times a year, they now have, with the warden, sometimes the director, some members of the prison board, what do they call it? Like a community meeting.
Oh, okay. Not the advisory board. Yeah. Well, it's
It's
basically.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a community meeting,
Yeah,
and they
town
have a
hall.
town hall, big space. You can ask questions or speak about what is upsetting you. I think the last one I was in around. They had different tables. They broke it up in half, and you were able to speak for the first half. The second half, you went to a table with an issue that was particularly upsetting to you, and helped think of solutions that you could take back that table to the prison board. So, those are super important. The more silent
Involvement.
yes, that people are, the less we can do.
And that goes with everything, even when we say, okay, I don't care who you vote for, vote. Whatever you believe in, if you don't fight for it, it's not going to change. Same with the prison system. You might not have someone in prison, but if you're human, you said it before and it stuck. When you said, this could be you, me, it could be accidentally, like you mentioned, you give an example of, you could be driving and you hit someone by accident or something happened outside of your, and people don't think about that when they think of prison. You don't think of someone who hits something. You don't think of someone who, wrongfully accused. Someone didn't like you or you're nobody to someone and you're sitting there. So that could happen to anyone. And, what you said, it truly stuck with me. Like it made me think because sometimes we take things for granted. So you said something about commissary. I'm gonna lean in. Yes.
Super important. So commissary, I think when people think of commissary, they think of, I say luxury items, but it's things that the people who are incarcerated don't need. It's kind of extra. I think something that's really important to know, and the Prison Society just did a food report where we had a nutritionist come in, and this was for the state prisons, and what we found is that they are providing people with hundreds, like there's a deficit of hundreds of calories a day based off of what nationally, like Food and Drug Administration,
approved from the FDA,
yeah. Hundreds of calories less a day.
Oh, wow.
So people are starving.
Intentionally.
And they are hungry.
Yeah.
And in these county prisons, Dauphin County has been pretty transparent with us. We go and walk through, Destiny walks through with me every single month. We ask the same questions. And it is without fail, over 80% of the people that we ask in Dauphin County Prison, if they're hungry every day, over 80% say yes. So first thing that commissary is doing is providing necessary calories and necessary food for people just to not feel that grumble in their stomach while they're sitting in their cells. The second thing is I believe that people don't understand that incarcerated people have to buy their own hygiene items. Unless they're deemed...
All of it?
Unless they're...
Okay.
Unless they're deemed...
I'll be
indigent.
funky.
Unless they're
Let me tell you.
indigent, and they have no money being put on their books, then they're provided
An indigent package.
an indigent package. Now, let me explain to you. The bar of soap that they get that's supposed to last 2 weeks is the hotel-size soap that they give you to wash your hands in the hotel, the little tiny bar of soap that you get every day, 2 weeks. But
this is our tax money,
Yeah.
everyone. This is the tax money that we're sending into the facility monthly. You paying your city tax, your state tax, all the taxes. This is what we're paying for, a little hotel bar soap.
Right. So
Probably charging an arm and a leg for it too.
well, that's the indigent. They are charging an arm and a leg for all of the commissary items. And, that people are buying soap and lotion and toothpaste and their toothbrushes. In state prison, they buy ibuprofen. It
This
costs
is
a lot of
ridiculous.
money.
Like, this is truly ridiculous. Keep talking.
It costs a lot of money to be in prison. And
It costs us and the prisoner. Let's make that clear.
Yes.
It costs you as a taxpayer,
Yes.
and it also costs, so double charge.
Double.
And just like when you're mid of the night and you need something, and you go to the gas station, you pay $15 for Oreo cookie, or you can, I didn't do that, but somebody did. I would never pay
I know, I've done
$15.
that
Yes,
before.
but if you go to Walmart or somewhere where they have, I'm not advertising for Walmart either, but if you go to any store, you buy the same thing for fraction of that. So they're doing, this is basically the same thing.
right, and one of the things that I think is super important too is Destiny mentioned that she feels that the Black and brown communities sometimes bear the weight of the extended sentences, of not being able to bail out. There are families that do not have a lot of money and are going into debt to send money just to help their loved ones incarcerated not feel starving every day, right? And
I'm sick to my stomach, honestly.
this also goes with healthcare. Healthcare is not free in prison. You are charged for every single visit that you make to the doctor or the nurse. You are charged a copay. You are charged a copay for every prescription they fill for you. And
And not cutting you off, but cutting you
No,
off.
go ahead.
I had an elderly lady who had a disability drive up, and I seen her crying. So I walked over to her car. I said, "Is there anything I can do? Can I help you?" And she said, "I don't know what to do." She said, "I'm on a fixed income, and I just put $100 on my son's book. They took all that money. He doesn't have anything now. What do I do?" And I'm lost for words. I'm like, oh my God, So I did take her, the individual's name, and seeing what the prison society could do, So sometimes in those situations, we do help, sometimes. So I don't want anybody to think, well, let's call the prison society. We'll get some help.
If you want to come, make sure you donate. That Dustin is doing it out of the goodness of her heart.
yes, sometimes Destiny.
And now I'm thinking of something else. We need to, if you guys are not getting any funds to do this kind of help, we need to push for funding, because to me, prevention and education will prevent everything. So if we start early, and then in prison, if you treat them like human, they're not going to be animals.
Right.
But if you treat them badly, you're putting hate, anger. That person is not going to come out with his or her self-esteem intact, as well as their love for other humans. Because if you don't treat me like human, why would I? And that's why we see I'm not saying this is the only reason, but like, you're going to have that PTSD. You're going to have that anger. And you're not going to come as a, quote, normal, which I don't know anyone that is normal. We're all, but like, you're not going to come back the same way you went in. And we need to do something about that. We do.
Definitely. And that's why commissary is so necessary, because a lot of the food, just as Jessica just said, the nutritional part, it's bad. It's really bad. And that's why commissary is so necessary, because they don't want to eat the slop. So they're like, if I can
Why
get
do we have a
bag of
slob
chips-
anyway? Let us
that's
just talk
another
about
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Just like the school and the prison.
Yeah.
Private, right?
Yeah.
Companies are making ton of money
money
to
all
bring
the
that
taxpayers.
food, who is
taxpayers.
not something that anyone, I see your face, go for it. Go for it.
Well, no, I think there is part of prisons that's an industry. I mean, that's the reality. If it is for somebody to make a phone call home, 15 cents a minute, and this is a real statistic that I got from somewhere, 12 cents of it goes back to the prison. So 12 cents of every 15 cents a minute phone call that in Pennsylvania at a county prison is going back to the prison. Part of commissary, as it's sold as it is, there is a portion of that goes back to the prison. Now, there was some legislation around, and they have to put it into a special commissary fund that's only supposed to be used to better the prison or the situation for the incarcerated people. I'm not going to really get into that, but I think another thing that's super important is that in the county prisons, there are a few people that can have jobs and make a little bit of money. State, there's more. Let me tell you, the starting wage for somebody incarcerated is 19 cents an hour.
I was just about to say, let us guess. Drop your worst guess. But you know what? 19 cents? I was about to say $1. Like thinking the dollar is.
You're rich. If you get $1 an hour, you have.
Are you kidding me?
You've been in for a long time and have one of the like.
How is this okay by any standard?
We just advocated, the Pennsylvania Prison Society, we just advocated for Dauphin County.
Tag Justin for me.
To have us.
Tag Justin
to
Douglas.
put them on payroll. So they just put those individuals that are working 7 days a week. And sometimes over 8 hours a day. We just advocated for them, and I believe they're making 55 cents an hour.
What?
Yeah,
That's after the advocate.
I believe that's the highest on the county level. So they're up to state level. Cause
the 50 cents an hour.
State level makes more than county.
Well, they start at 19,
but most states don't. But we advocated for them, and we also advocated for them to be in a program where that once they're released, that they can get a job. So they have to go through the training process. They receive the certificate, and then they can contact the company, and they're open to receive a job. So then we advocated for the women also, but the women only do the laundry area. But we advocated for them to get on payroll as well. So because they were giving them little tidbits every now and then from the commissary, a bag of chips or this or that. No, that's not going to work. They're working like you're working every day. So they need to be paid. So that just happened. So they're getting paid now.
Wow. Well, I want to say thank you for that, but I don't even know, I'm ignorant, and I apologize. And I hope everyone listening to us right now really listen and think, put yourself in their shoes and get paid 19 cents. I can't even put that, like paid 19 cents.
Well, and if you look at it, to go to the doctors in a state facility, the copay is $5. So you go.
So you got to work like a slavery. Yeah. This is not just mental slavery, physical slavery. You work how many hours to get that $5? Anyone good at math? 19 cents. How many hours you need to work to get that doctor? Why do we have copay and health when we have the welfare system that we also pay from our pocket to help people who, a lot of people do need the help to get ahead, right? We have that. Why can't we have the same thing for incarcerated?
It's a money-making facility. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
It's a money-making.
Prison is a private.
Yeah.
And I've been, that's one
like
of the things I've been
business.
talking about. This is a business, and why prisons, and it's shouldn't be private
It should.
to begin with.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
agree.
we actually don't have private prisons here.
It's like I think she was.
Because if you have an outside company that does the debt, So in their best interest for that debt to continue and it still remain, because when they get that money, they make money out of it with interest and anything, right? Also, the one bringing the food, I don't think it's like a local
Oh, no. It was,
business or
no, there's definitely there are companies that manage the communications and the, I mean, one of the county facilities, York County facility, prison, which is where I live, they started doing these video visits. And it was born out of COVID. And so they still have them. They provide 30 minutes or an hour. And so to be able to have a video visit with your loved one for a half an hour. Hold on, I'm going to look at my,
look at your statistic, yes.
Because it really flabbergasted me. Okay, here we go. So it's $15 for 30 minutes to visit with a loved one over video. And then for professional visits, which would be like with your lawyer, it is $25.20 for 30 minutes and $50.40 for 60 minutes. So, we're looking at people who are sitting in prison, and to be able to video visit with their lawyer are paying upwards of $50 an hour.
When they're making 19 cents, if that. Because the jobs, there is not enough job for everyone.
Well, and in counties, it's very rare to have jobs. That's
Jobs,
not normal.
yeah.
You have to be a trustee to work in the kitchen or in the laundry area. That means you're trustworthy to go outside, bring the trash in, take the trash out, or you have to be a trustworthy person, and so they call them trustees. And they have a different uniform that they wear. That's a green uniform that they're wearing when they're able to go into different areas. And like the state prisons, they used to wear the white uniform, but they did away with the white uniform now. So they can go with their brown on. So once you get into the state facilities, you're in blue because you haven't been classified to your home prison where you're going to spend your time. So if you're at Camp Hill facility and they have the brown on, that's because that's their home prison. So that's where they will spend their time, whether they're a lifer or 3 to 5 years and so on. So they're in brown, but coming in fresh, they're in blue. Yeah.
And just to look at it differently, look at your bill, look at your phone, your internet, your computer, when you bought it, monthly how much you pay to have internet service or a phone line. So just to think of it, beside their costing, like say, okay, no, I'm not going to let them use the phone because it's costing me. Now we have unlimited. Like you can have the phone, the telephone, and pay maybe what, $50, $100, say $200 a month. Why are we charging them to use that when we can absorb that as county or state or whatever? And I'm not saying, this is not something that need to be supported by prisoners. They're already serving their time. Yes, you can make them work if you want to, but pay them right, or charge something that it makes sense. If you pay me 19 cents, then charge me 10 cents to visit a doctor. Did you guys discuss that? Or let's take it back to you guys. What are you doing right now? What are you working on? What have you accomplished so far? And what is something that you really want to do and it's just doors are closed? I see the smile. Go ahead, Destiny. Go ahead.
What I really want to do.
I know.
Well, what we're working on now is the kitchen area. We want a new kitchen for the men and the women. That's our tax money. That's their money, and they deserve a new kitchen, a kitchen where they can get hot food daily, a hot breakfast, a hot lunch, a hot dinner. We did facilitate for them to get extra meals like for Christmas, New Year's, Super Bowl, but yet it's still more is needed, you know, and also there,
I know.
the cleanliness, and you know, we in the staffing, the staff is low, and so the men and women, they're constantly complaining, we want to get outside. You keep somebody in a dark room all day long, you're going to come out with mental issues.
Depression and all the
Yes.
mental issues.
So then we
yeah.
wonder why taxpayers are paying so much money, because I go in sane, I come out insane, you
Yeah.
know. So why? And I'm like, we got to find a better way. There has to be a better way to, as we call it, punish someone. You know, there got to be a better way to punish an individual, you know, and we're advocating now for the youth to have their own facility to take their showers, so they don't have to walk them down the hall into the rooms where the
Adults and
adults are. But they do have, it's supposed to be a CO that's watching them why they go down the hall into an adult area. So that's our main argument. And another argument is that they should have something where, I know this it's not a college, but I'm like, I can't wear the same clothes that I wear in the summer that I wear in the winter. They should have summer uniforms as well as winter uniforms. You know, in the winter, we did advocate for them to get thicker blankets, so they did get them thicker blankets. But I said, even if something that they can zip down, pull this off, it'll be a double uniform. But even on the holidays, you know, they give them socks, candy. It's a little Christmas little bag that they give them, and thermal shirts, because it's cold.
yeah.
It's cold in there, you know. And I'm like, where is my tax money going? You know, this hurts my heart, you know,
Yeah.
because the first time back in the 80s, when I first used to go to the prisons, which was Camp Hill, I would cry. I would cry the whole way home, because I couldn't even imagine looking at someone who was supposed to be an individual almost looked like it was a werewolf or something behind the bars. It actually scared me. I was the first time I seen it, I was like, oh my God, who is that? You know, and I was terrified. I was really terrified, and I was like, how do you just think that this is okay? Who designed this? Who in their right mind if you ever did a walkthrough through there, you would be like, whoa. We had
Cages.
legislator come in there and feel hurt to their heart, where tears was bubbling up in their eyes. Strong men, you know, and even sometimes the CEOs, not only do we advocate for the men and women on the inside, we advocate for the CEOs. You know, because if we make it easy for them, they're going to make it easy for the men and women that are on the inside. You know, and so not only do we just care about them, but we care about it as a whole, you know, because you can't take part and then leave out another part. Even though I know a lot of times they say, yeah, the CEOs, they do this and that. But just like the men and women, they do things that they should not do. But it has to be a better way, has to be a better system. And until we can come up with that, and us just sitting home, we need to come to the meetings. If you can't come, you need to come virtually. You need to read your information that comes when it's time to vote. Don't just vote because you're a Republican. I'm voting for a Republican. I'm voting for a Democrat because I'm Democrat. If they're not doing the job, you're not getting my vote. If I'm a Democrat and you're a Democrat, I'm not voting for you. If you're not going to do the job, then you don't get my vote. Justin has been in those facilities. He put on a uniform, worked a 16-hour day, walking in there, watching to see what's going on. He is a true advocate. And anybody that put their vote on him, they should
We
clap their
proudly
hands, and you
supported
should be
Justin.
very
We did.
proud of that
We
vote.
did.
Because when he said he's doing it, believe me, he's doing it. And he's not afraid to say, you know, this is what I stand for, and this is what I'm going to stand for.
Can you say in Arabic?
This
Like,
is,
this conversation, because everybody's asking to say it in Arabic right quick. Just like,
I will after. But this is what we just like heard from you is mine. Like, I just can't like just when you're talking, I'm trying to imagine how, you know, people we all watch like Orange is the New Black. You know, yeah, it's cute. You know, but that's not reality. It's just I don't. I'm someone who always get cold. At home, I fight with my girls. Like, summertime, they have to ask to put the air conditioner or I'll be wearing my robe and stuff. So just put yourself in that position. Like, anything that bothers you, you know, you just locked in. I just want to know, what are the beds, situation for the bed? Do they sleep in, like, an okay bed or just a metal? She's giving me a look and like, are you really asking this question? I'm asking for a friend, Destiny. I'm asking for a friend. But I know the answer, but I want people to hear that area, the confinement. I am claustrophobic. So my nightmare is like when I see movies or I see, you know, someone is, and that's something people need to think about. Think about the things that tick you. Think about the things that you don't see yourself surviving, and compare it to what you heard from those amazing ladies, but the cell condition.
Yeah. So Destiny, when she was talking about what her goals were, that was specifically with Dauphin County. And I'll quickly answer your question. The beds are just metal frames with a mattress, about that thick.
And if you're big, if it's that thick, it's going to be that
Yeah.
thick once you lay on it.
Yeah. So definitely not comfortable. So overall, my job is to help Destiny in because she's the expert on Dauphin County. So I manage 31 facilities. So I will first say, we need volunteers, right? I want to get to this, I don't know
Yes,
how long
please
we have,
do.
but
Yeah.
we are on pace this year, in 2024, to receive 16,000 requests for visits from incarcerated people across the state of Pennsylvania.
Volunteers are needed.
Volunteers are desperately needed to go
And
in.
we have vans that take you to different facilities. If your loved one is incarcerated and you can't get there, we do have vans that take you to different facilities.
Just ended.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it actually just ended. We weren't.
Did it? Why?
We're hoping.
Why?
We're hoping that.
And how can we help it?
Again.
Do you need funding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So we need funding. How do you get your funding?
We do a lot of grants.
Okay.
We do a couple fundraisers. We do individual donations.
Okay.
We always try to apply for some state monies.
But the state is not giving you something that is, this money is for the prison society.
Well,
you have
that's
to
what-
search and dig for it,
Well,
huh?
that's why we have been advocating. So I think that's going to become a reality, but it's not going to become a reality that supersedes our need for other funding.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people who've been helping advocate for that at the state level, to get us into the budget.
Who should we harass to get you there?
I don't think you need to
trust me.
I don't think you
Our
need
people here are really good.
Yeah, I don't think you need to harass anybody.
We need to call. Yes, we do. Me and Destiny agree, right? And by harassment, we don't choose violence. We mean pick up that phone
Yes.
and call, email. We say that with everything. Like, just call them. hand their phone, and that's me, not the prison society telling you. I'll take full responsibility for what I said. So
Yeah.
who do we need to be calling?
There are lots of reasons to call and advocate. The state funding is not one of them. I really, the volunteers are the heart of our work, and we really need people to care. We need people to show up to the meetings and advocate for the humane treatment of everybody. Everybody deserves to have dignity, safety, and health. And, I say it all the time. I'm not just saying incarcerated people, I'm saying everybody.
Yeah.
And it should be a value that is carried through everywhere. It's a very simple mission.
Yeah.
It just tends to be difficult because, I was in child welfare for a long time, and it was really difficult. I'm a trained social worker. And what I saw was difficult. I'm actually advocating now for the people that I helped put behind bars. And, I remember talking to my mom and saying, hey, I found the one group, right, who has less of a voice than children. Because people don't think or care.
Yeah. That's it.
And so our job is not only to advocate and help, but also to try to bring awareness to this situation and make people think kind of like you started to think about it in a different way. When you had heard Destiny speaking at the Torch Awards. And so, we definitely appreciate the platform and your amazing questions and
Just try to think of anyone as human. There is a show that my daughter sent to me, and she said, watch that. I think you will like it. At the beginning, I said, this sounds stupid. Like, the show is like, roaches and like, people fighting roaches. At the end, and I'm not spoiling it for anyone, I'm not giving you the name either. At the end, it was a system designed to put something in your brain. It's like a sci-fi kind of, to make you see the enemies as roaches and animals. Because if you humanize them, if you see them as human, you're not going to shoot. And there is a statistic with the Army that I don't know if it's 70% of the people that were deployed, they did not fire a gun because they felt this person is human. Like and I mean, they didn't fire and kill like innocent civilians. But that tells you 30% did.
Wow.
And, some people do look at other people if they look different, if they have a different color, especially minority. You don't see them as human. And now a lot of people don't see prison or prisoners as human. And we need to change that. That need to be changed, truly. And this is just scratching the surface. I want everyone to do your homework, go read, learn. We will put all the links, and most importantly, visit the website and donate your time, volunteer, donate your money, call. And I know you don't advertise for harassment. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the state funding, but call your representative. Justin Douglas, and who else do you guys deal with? Decision making. Throw names.
So I deal with everybody.
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 Give us the levels,
like for example,
the commissioners.
Yeah.
We have
all of the commissioners, the Dauphin County commissioners,
Judges, DAs.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
deal with all of them.
our judges, district attorneys,
And we've
lawyers,
Solicitors, yep.
solicitors.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Sheriffs.
yeah.
They all come to the meeting, so you would be able to talk to them at the meeting. So the wardens, they're there. The chief director, he's there. So you will be able to talk to any of them if you come to the meetings. Even if you're on virtually, you can voice your opinion to any of them at the table, that round table where they're all sitting. So, and then you have an individual, she handles the money situation. So she knows what's coming into the facility. She knows where the money is going. She knows how much they're being charged a day. And also, since we did get rid of the charge, that it isn't daily, that it's one charge, they still have this on their books. But, I mean, not their books, but it goes to a credit union. So, but once they pay that off, because some people will pay their credit bill, but Dauphin County is still getting a percentage of it. So, it's
And the meetings at, sorry to cut you, it will be at the prison. So if someone wants to be there in person, come to the Dauphin County Prison and we will share the time. 1:30, we will share that and we will share the link and a direction to the meeting. And also the website where you can go and virtually attend. You were saying?
Well, I was just going to say that one thing, kind of going back to a little bit about what goals are. And I like to highlight this because it was actual legislation, and it blows people's minds when I say it because it was a huge win. It was the Dignity for Incarcerated Women Act. It was just signed in December, and what that act did was it eliminated the use of shackles on feet and hands while women were in labor and giving birth.
Okay. All right. Hold the damn minute. What did you just say? I don't curse, by the way. This is the first time I said this because say that again.
Yeah. And that's why it's an example I always give, is that they are no longer allowed to use shackles on women's hands
Okay,
and
stop
feet
it.
while they're giving birth.
Just stop it. Was this actually happening?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Till December of 23.
December of 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
Women were shackled while giving birth.
Yes.
Because we don't care, and because we want to close our eyes to things and think that who cares? They did a crime. They deserve it. And when we hear that someone did something, I don't put a level on crime. I don't care if you molested, if you killed, if you're a drug dealer, if you took a table out of the mall. Sin is sin. Wrong is wrong. Nobody deserves some of this treatment that we in our, I would say, I don't know what kind of mindset that someone has
this is sick.
to do this. A sick mind. Because, I mean, you got to be, something had to flip in your mind to want to, you have to, I don't know if they'll give a walkthrough to, maybe that's something that people need to do.
We need to do
we're
that.
Advocating for the DAs, I mean the judges, the district magistrates to go do walkthroughs. You know, you want to say you're saving somebody's life by throwing them in there, and you think, you know how chandelier looks coming down? They have to stand in a circle, stand there, and take a shower. So I'm like, whose mind? Whose mind?
How is this
going to do
okay?
this? That's what I'm saying. Whose mind would think to want to say, oh, let's stand in a circle? If I have a cut and you have a cut and you have some kind of disease and that gets in my open wound and we're in this circle showering, whose mind? We gotta care. We gotta care. We can't be a people that don't care. I mean, some things that we say we care about, no, push that aside. Because just like she just said,
I can't.
it's hard enough for a woman to give birth loose, but to give birth shackled, we gotta understand. Our money is precious to some of us. It's precious, and I'm just throwing my money out there for you to do what you're doing. No,
This is
It's unacceptable.
unbelievable.
it's unacceptable.
This is unbelievable. Like, I don't have words.
It also, just on a side note, it also mandated more funds for feminine hygiene products because they
I
were.
was just about to ask about that.
Yeah,
That bill, is it passed? Did it pass?
it did. It was signed in
Okay.
December of 2023.
Who signed it? May I know? If you don't know, send me.
Well, no.
Because we need to send them a
I
thank
can
you.
tell you who. Well, there was a lot of people
Yeah.
who kind of were.
And this has been going on since the beginning of prison.
Time.
It was sponsored by State Rep Mike Jones of York, who's
Okay.
a Republican.
Mike Jones. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to you,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
I know Mike.
Yep. It also, the Incarcerated Women Act also enabled 3 days post-delivery bonding time. So instead of removing the mother from the child in 24 hours, they get 3 days.
24 hours.
It used to be 24 hours, now it's
No,
3
3
days before they have to go back. You know, and that's part of what we, you know, really work on right now in most county facilities. There is no, what we call, they're in-person visits, but they're behind a glass. There's no contact visits. So, you know, we work with, you know, and I know in my past, I've worked with women who have given birth, were separated from the baby 24 hours, now it'll be 3 days, and then for however long, I mean, she could be in a county facility for 8 months, 12 months, and never once touch her child, because there is no contact visits. So
This is, yeah.
So-
This can't be okay. And also,
Right, and that, I mean, if we talk about systemic, kind of circular, well, you talk about the cycle of things, right? If you have a child who never bonds with their parent, and then that parent gets out of jail and the child goes back to the parent, the child has no idea who the parent is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the critical time, you know, can cause a lot of damage. And so, you
to
know,
both. Because the child needs its mommy, need that
contact.
breastfeeding,
Yes.
need that
Yes.
love and security, like we all do, but especially someone coming to this world and
right, and an infant can't look through glass
Yeah.
and bond.
of course.
So, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that you know.
And there is a program too, I mean, I know Dauphin County, Belfast.
We're not ending this, guys, so we're continuing until they say enough. But yeah, today, no, there is no time. All right, go for
There
it.
is Dauphin County Bail Fund, so they do advocate for the men and women on the inside. So that is a program, but they pay 100% of the bail, but it can't be over a certain amount. So and I do work with that program as well.
She works with everybody. She's
Yeah,
amazing. She's
Destiny, honestly,
Yeah.
this world, and I say this to few people that I truly know and think I knew them long enough to say that this world is a better place because of them. And I know you, I just got to know you recently, but I can truly tell you that you have a heart of gold. And this world is a better place because of you and because of you. Because no one would just wake up and say, I've been advocating since I was 12 years old. Human right, woman right. Never occurred to me. And I'm not an exception. I'm sure many people never occurred to me to think of a prisoner's right or to think about once they're locked and you throw the key, you don't think about them. You don't think how they live. And we seen, we heard, you know, I rallied before in front of Dauphin County, but because there was a death. That's all I knew. But I didn't know what was going on inside. And so many people are just as ignorant as I am. If it doesn't, I can't say if it doesn't affect me, I don't care, because I do care. But many people don't care if it doesn't affect them. But even with that, I failed to even know what is going on, or to just, and this, what you're just telling me, is like my worst nightmare. I wouldn't expect to hear that. Like I don't know what to say, honestly. Oh, Lord. Yeah. So how did you get to do this? I know you said it before, when you got the Torch Award, which you guys truly deserve. So how did you become an advocate? And then we'll go to you too, because you changed from,
Yeah.
okay, let's hear it.
I was, well, I was, there was a young lady in my church, and she was going in and out of the facilities, Cumberland, York, and Muncie. And one day she said, I don't have anybody to go with me. Would you go with me, Destiny? And I was like, sure. And didn't know anybody. And that we were going in and out of Camp Hill, and you could just go and walk through and go in. They used to have pods, and they were like campers. And you would just go in there and talk and do Bible study with the men and so on. And then the riot broke out. So I'm sure everybody remembers the riot. And then they stopped everybody from coming in. And later on, there was a gentleman named Jim Law. And he was inside the facility. He was serving time. But his testimony is he was dressing the COs in inmate uniforms and getting them out of there. So I guess because of that, I don't know if that lessens his time or whatever. So then I came back into the facility under him, and it was called Walk Your Faith. You know, so it was a program that we taught the men and women to be better, the men rather, because that's a men's facility, how to better yourselves, and teaching them how to walk, not just walk, but walk your faith. And Pennsylvania Prison Society is an organization, whereas I would go in under this Walk Your Faith program as a ministry. And then I had my own ministry, which was called Total Deliverance. So I would go in and I would minister to the men on Sunday. And it would, again, I'm a crybaby, like
me. Yeah.
And I would cry because they would come in there, and I mean, the chapel would be full. And it really touched my heart, because they would say, oh, Destiny's coming. And they would put the word out, Destiny's coming. And when they would put the word out, I mean, they would come in loads, you know, and not just to hear me, to hear what was given to me to give to them. So then as that went on, I moved out of the state. Then I came back, and I met John Hargreaves, and he was the director of Pennsylvania Prison Society. And we would go into the Capitol and go into room after room. The legislators, we would go in there and we would talk to them and looking for change.
Yeah.
And we were talking to them, and some of them were interested, and they were just like you. We didn't know. How can you pass a bill
That
and
you don't
know
know
nothing about it?
Yeah.
And that just was mind-boggling to me, that they had no idea
Well, what they were
what
signing.
they were signing.
Yeah.
So, and I was working at the Work Release Center. I was working at the Women's Work Release Center. So I got to, know a lot of things and see a lot of the women. And a lot of it would just break my heart, because I'm like, this could be my child. This could be my mother. Because not only were they young, they were older. And I my heart just went out to them. I don't know where it came from. I just grew a love and a compassion for those that were on the inside. And I always felt like, if I could see that seed that is planted in the ground grow up to be this beautiful rose. And I said, you can be whatever you want to be. I don't care what happened in your past, and we've all got a past. but I said, something can come from nothing.
Yeah.
And I said, if you feel that you're that nothing right now, I feel you're that rose that is just waiting to blossom and to be whatever you want to be. And you're that sweet fragrance that everybody is looking to smell and wants to, pass on to somebody else and say, look at that. It's so beautiful. When you see roses in the room, you're just like, oh, it's so beautiful. It just adds to the room. So then later on, me and John, we got together, and he was like, well, you've been doing this for a while. He said, you go ahead, girl. So then we were out there, and then, we were going to the meetings. We would protest out there at Dauphin County, and we did a lot of protesting out there,
Yeah.
and looking for change. And I can do it. Jess really can't, because she's on payroll.
Yeah.
Some things I can do that she
She
can't.
can't,
do,
yeah.
And some things I can say that she can't say because she's payroll.
That's why I work
so-
for myself.
So that's
I can
what-
say whatever the heck I want.
Exactly. So we would go out there, and we would see, during COVID was really rough. It really was bad, because we would be outside and we would be advocating for the men and women, and we would be looking at them, and the news reporters, they would come out with us, and we would see the men holding up signs and saying, help us. And
Lord.
it just hurts my heart, because, my family members, they were in there, and it really hurts me to see, that little changes, and I'm a big advocate looking for change. I don't care if it's a speck, a light. I'm going to look at that light until it enlarges, and I'm going to keep on. And my husband always says, "Oh Lord, here she goes."
Here
again.
she goes again.
But
See,
I'm
that's
like,
what we need. Warriors.
I said, I
Yeah.
can't give up.
Yeah.
I can't give up, and I can't give up hope, and hope, we got to be that voice for those that are there, that feel like all hope is gone. And a lot of them tell me, they be like, Destiny, I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody. And if you didn't come in here, I would be lost. Because you fight for us, Destiny. They said, you fight for us. And sometimes, I want to say, I'm done. I'm tired. Because I be getting calls sometimes late in the night. I can't, sometimes I'm trying to have a day to breathe. But I say, God, they don't have anybody. They don't have anybody to call. Like, I don't have anybody. I burnt my bridge. My mom don't care. She don't want to hear nothing from me. My dad don't care. My wife, she divorced me as soon as I came in here, So if you don't help me, I'm done. And then, I don't know, that energizes me. It's like it puts something back in me, and I like, and I'm like, okay, I can do this again, So then I'm back on the saddle again, back trying to do it, And I know sometimes, my kids, they be like, oh, well, you're going to go see them. My one daughter's like, oh, you're seeing them, but I'm right here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you have all this.
Everything, yep.
They just have a little cell with broken iron beds that rust is coming off of, and mold and mildew in the ceiling, and filthy, nasty. Change of clothes. You change your clothes every day. They only get 2 outfits to wear a week if they get washed. And then you're wearing somebody else's clothes. You're not even getting your clothes back that you put in the laundry. So I'm like, come on, give me a little break here.
Yeah.
But my heart, that's my heart. And that's how I got involved with prison ministry. It wasn't like, it just was a friend of mine. She asked me to go, and I don't know, it just, one thing kept leading to another, and here I am now with Jess in the prison society,
We are lucky to have you, and I'm sure those men and women are lucky to have you. You are the light that they needed. Because it get dark
It does.
in all of our lives, and in being a prisoner is not, different. We all get to that point where we don't see that light, and we just need someone to tell us it's going to be okay, and you're that someone. So thank you for that, Destiny. Jessica, how did you?
So I always actually tease and say that social work was my midlife.
Uh-huh.
So I was in sales and marketing for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And then I went back to school and got my social work degree.
Okay.
And I had mentioned before, I worked for children and youth, and I investigated the worst of the worst. I did investigations, joint investigations with the police. I was in interrogations. I testified at trials. So like most people, the dark consumes you a little bit. So I went and I then did a foster care deflection agency. So I ran an agency that trained and vetted families, like foster families, but they weren't, to care for children while parents were walking through a crisis, so the children weren't taken by children and youth.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful program. I ran that for 6 years all across central PA. And then one day I decided that I needed to find something more. And I'll tell you, I think when that realization came, and I tell this story about my father, he passed 3 years ago, but about 6 months before he passed away, he had seen on his military record that there was a medal he didn't receive. He was drafted into Vietnam, and he was a field medic, so he was on the front lines. And so he wrote in to the state senator and said, hey, I didn't get this medal. And he got a box of medals back that he didn't even know he won. But the most important one for him was he won a medal from the country of Vietnam, a humanitarian medal, because when he would get R&R, instead of going to like China Beach or, all those places, he would go into the villages and treat medically the women and children of those villages whose husbands and sons and fathers were out fighting his fellow soldiers.
Yeah.
Because they were people. He would send the little bit of money home to my mom, and they were, did not have a lot of money, and would say, don't send me care packages back. Go to the thrift store, and I want you to send me clothes for women and children. And he would take them with him. And that sat with me, and I thought, I need to be out there, and I need to be finding my humanity and making sure that I'm working with people who it isn't easy to work with.
Yeah.
It is, you look at children, and while they don't have a voice in a lot of circumstances, there are a lot of people standing for them. People who are incarcerated do not have that. And it was important for me to challenge myself and to challenge my view of the world and of who I thought was worthy of helping. And so that's how I came to do what I do.
That last line right there. Challenge your view of see who is worthy. Yeah. Because we all put ourselves in God's place and decide who deserves to live, who deserves to live a good life, and who deserves our forgiveness, who deserves to be called a good person.
Right.
So challenging that is not an easy thing, but it can be done. You did it, so can you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. This is honestly, we never went far more than an hour, but I don't want this to stop. I truly don't want this to stop, but I know you both had work, and we can't keep going because I can't keep going with you till tomorrow. But so what do you want us to do? Give us a last, if I say, give me a 1 to 2 minutes. Call for action, homework, and how we can help.
Okay.
So both of you. You go first.
Yeah,
Just-
so I definitely go to our website, prisonsociety.org. On there, you can fill out an application to volunteer.
Okay.
You can donate money, which is always super important. You can sign up for our supporter updates, and it comes out once a week, and it tells you what we're doing, where we are. It's super insightful. You can go see the history of the supporter updates. You can, look kind of at our staff and who we have around. There's somebody who does my job in the Eastern region and the Western region. And so they're just amazing people all around. Definitely show up to your local prison board meetings, listen to what they have to say, question what they have to say, and, even if you don't feel like you have the time to become a volunteer, I'm going to encourage you to start listening and ask questions and really think about how you feel people should be treated and how you can use your voice to advocate to make prisons safer and healthier and to treat people with dignity because that's the only way that people are going to come out and succeed. Most people in prisons don't have a life sentence. They're going to come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to remember.
Yeah.
And I would say, hold your commissioners, your county officials accountable. If you have to send letters, hold them accountable. Tell them you want them to be held accountable for what is going on the inside. And you want them to have life skill classes, classes that will help them once they're released from there. What are they being released to?
Yeah.
Where are they being released to? More life skill programs inside, more programs to help them. They have programs, but they need programs that are really going to deal with those individuals. Hold those individuals accountable. You have counselors, you have psychiatrists. They need to be held accountable. You are not there to just receive a paycheck, and if they are, they need to go.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that there's transparency on every level. You cannot be in these facilities if you don't have a heart for what you're doing. And we as taxpayers, as caring individuals, need to hold them accountable. Send letters to whoever you need to send, your commissioners, your DA, send them. Say, I want to know what you're doing to bring about the change in these facilities. It should not be a revolving door. Once that individual is in there and they see the hatred and the nastiness and the distastefulness that's in there, they should never want to come back in there. But it's like a revolving door. And what are we missing? What are we missing? What are we lacking that these individuals are coming back on a daily basis? And then what are we missing that you are allowing them to come back on a daily basis and not giving them the tools to be productive individuals once they're out of there? What tool is missing that we're not giving them so that some individuals are possibly going to come back? So what is the tool that you're not giving that individual so they won't come back? And we need to look for that. What is that tool that individual is lacking? And we know that we hold it. We hold the power. And what is it? Make those wardens, make all those officials in the prisons. When you go on that website, you'll see every warden, you'll see the commissioner, you'll see the solicitors, you'll see the deputy, you'll see every name. Hold them accountable. They're elected officials. All of them. Most of them are elected officials. We put them in there, and we can take them out.
Take them out. You're right.
So if you're not going to do the job, then you don't need to stay.
Yeah.
And see,
Absolutely.
we need people that care from the heart. That I want to see them change. I want to see a change. I want to see a change in this facility. Well, if they did a crime and they're there, they don't need to be laying on the floor. They don't need to be on broken beds. They don't need to receive a peanut butter and a jelly sandwich when all the peanut butter can't even go on the sandwich. No, no. Too much money going in there. That we took the lowest bid on the food service. That bid that we took. We took one of the lowest bids. Just saying, it could be a bid from 10 to 11. We took the lowest bid. I think we took third to the bottom. And the highest, they would get better quality food. And we took one of the lowest. And we need to hold our officials accountable and tell them we're not going to take it anymore.
You heard them. You heard the ladies. And just do your job. There is a difference between someone who hold an oath. We all did. As a nurse, I would not, even if I have feelings and I know this person was a child molester, which is nothing worse, like, to me, than someone who is sexually assaulting a child. And I mean, there's other stuff, but I would not treat that person different because my job there is not to judge them. If they need care, I need to give my care. And like you said, even with the CEO, you guys help. But if we're hiring, we need to hold people to a standard. We're not hiring someone who take pleasure in hurting others, because we know behind those doors what they're going to do. So we need to do more criminal background check. We need to get, and I know it's not easy when you don't have enough staff, but this all can be changed because they're getting paid by us and by the prisoners or the incarcerated person, whether they're guilty or not. So you do your job or you're out, like what you just said. I don't think there will be enough time to discuss and talk, and like I said, this is just scratching the surface. We are going to provide links, and I truly hope everyone listen to us today felt something, and at least just to feel compelled to raise your voice, use what you have. We all have privileges. Use them. Donate, volunteer, or simply talk about it. Talk about it. Social media is making changes. Like, people are changing. We're changing governments. We're changing rules. We're changing regulations because people are focusing on that issue. So please, 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 if you were ignorant like me, today is the day for you to change. And remember, as we always say, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I want to thank both of you, not just for being here and sharing your time and your knowledge, but for doing this. Because I don't know what those people would have done if you were not there. You might not, you heard it from them, that some people might not have a chance to survive. And you both are doing an amazing job, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And look them up, support, and we will see you next week.